Tell me, viewer, what are the guarantees in life? Some may say taxes. Some, they may say death. But allow me to tell you the true guarantees in life. Yukong Uriart, Kekvin getting called bad, and Honkai Star Rail giving incredible damage dealers for absolutely free. Hello everybody, my name is Christian, and a long time ago I made a video called Free Characters Are Dominating Star Rail. In that video, I talked about HMC, March 7th Hunt, and Dr. Ratio. These were all incredibly powerful characters at the time, and they had been helping players everywhere beat the hardest content in the game. Well, fast forward to today, and somehow we've been blessed with another incredible set of characters. During version 3.x, players have received Remembrance MC, Archer, and Danheng PT for absolutely free. Let's go look at the tier list real quick to see how those characters are stacking up now. Yep, free characters are still dominating Star Rail. Let's talk about it. Let's pause real quick and take a brief word from our sponsor, LD Shop. With so many good characters coming out soon, many players simply don't have the jades they need to get them all. Now, if only there was a cheaper way to get top-ups for games like Star Rail and ZZZ. Well, that's where the sponsor of the video comes in, LD Shop. LD Shop is a safe and reliable top-up site for all your favorite games. They offer top-ups at a more affordable price than in-game, and can even activate your first top-up bonus if you haven't used it already. All you have to do is click the bundle you want, put in your server and UID, and your top-up will appear in-game shortly after. If you buy using my link as well, you can get a 5% and 15% coupon good for $50. Last but not least, if you consistently use LD Shop and spend over $80 for the month, you can get an Express Supply Pass completely free on your homepage. Use the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you so much to LD Shop for sponsoring. Let's get back to the video. So hey, make sure to join the Discord and subscribe. Come on now, Darren. I know where you live. One quick note, at the time of this video's release, Archer is no longer free to all players, unfortunately. His free period ended in version 3.6. Danheng PT will have a similar story, with his free period ending in version 4.0. This is admittedly a big problem I have with how HSR does free characters, since they can still be extremely helpful to new players. I see little harm in characters staying free since they will get outdated if a new player starts in like 4.2 or something. Danheng especially is an unfortunate case since his development into Danheng PT is genuinely incredible and very much a key aspect of his personal story. My personal gripes aside, these characters were free or are currently free, so I will still be talking about them today for the countless players who do have them sitting on their accounts. I think I've said this line before, but let's start off with talking about the free 5-star Hunt unit. Archer is a Quantum Hunt 5-star released in version 3.4. He was one of the more unique cases of a free character, which is why I wanted to start with him. At the time of release, you could actually get his light cone alongside him. There was a promotion where players got a free Archer cone by spending 200 pulls during version 3.4. This is definitely a lot of pulls, so it was met with some backlash, but I personally thought it was pretty cool. This allowed players to pull for whoever they wanted, and as long as they had saved or could muster up the pulls, they got a complete character of Archer and his light cone, alongside the numerous other amazing characters available on that banner. You could also just pull for the light cone if you wanted and still get it by winning your 75-25. Overall, it was a neat experience and something that I really wish happened for DHPT. With Archer's arrival out of the way, let's actually talk about his unique style and build. Archer is a character unlike any other in Star Rail, and you'll feel it almost immediately. This is because you'll see your skill points are at 7 instead of 5 for some reason. Just like Sparkle, Archer is capable of increasing the skill point cap by 2. These are the only 2 characters in HSR capable of this, and when playing Archer, you'll understand very quickly why he needs these extra skill points. That brings us to his actual moveset, which isn't too hard to follow for most of his abilities. His basic attack is as the name implies, basic. A simple attack that does 100% of his base attack to a single enemy. His ultimate is the first place where things get interesting. Costing a massive 220 energy, Archer will do 1000% of his attack to a single enemy upon using his ultimate. Using it will also grant him 2 charges. What are charges, you might ask? They're follow-up attacks. He is also capable of follow-up attacks. What happened to this being a whole niche? Every time an ally attacks, Archer will use 1 point of charge to unleash his follow-up attack. Besides doing decent damage, every charge used will regenerate 1 skill point for the team. With Archer gaining 2 charges every single ult, that's 2 skill points back for having another ally attack. Based on what we've seen so far, Archer is clearly very SP minded. So how about instead of just telling you what his skill does, I show you. Archer's skill is called Kalidbog Fake Spiral Sword. Upon using this skill, Archer will enter the circuit connection state. Upon firing the first shot that does 360% of his attack, by the way, Archer can choose to fire another skill, up to 5 times. The skill damage can also increase by 100%, stacking up to 2 times. Yeah! I don't think I need to particularly explain how 360% 5 times in a row is good. Archer is a burst character who does extreme amounts of damage in one go, even being able to dispose of elite enemies in one use of his skill. This is without factoring in his major trace, Guardian. When allies gain a skill point, if there are 4 skill points or more, Archer will gain 120% crit damage for 1 turn. Considering his turn doesn't end while using skill, and he runs best with characters who shred defense or increase crit damage and damage percent, the math on his damage is just not worth doing, if we're being honest. Just assume it's a lot. Like, a lot. You get all of this for free as well. That is a very, very good deal, with one condition. Archer is a character who is substantially weaker without either his E1 or his best in-slot character, Sparkle. Sparkle is a match made in heaven for Archer, giving him everything he wants, no questions asked. Without her, most players will suffer a great deal. It gets to the point the character is almost not worth using anymore, the same way Ratio was very hard to play without Topaz for a very long time. With that in mind, Archer is still an incredibly powerful character who can synergize well with many supports in Quantum specifically, and just with many supports overall. Definitely a great free character that players still love getting to use today. Especially the Sparkle mains, because dear lord, they did not have anything else to work with beforehand. The next character I want to talk about is gonna be Dan Heng. Dan Heng Permancer Terra is a physical preservation 5-star released in version 3.6. His free period is still currently ongoing, and if you're watching this video and are debating on starting HSR, you should just to have the chance to get him. He is that good of a character, in my opinion. To dive into why he's so good, we have to first explain his moveset. The big hitter here is his skill, Terra Omnibus. This applies shields to all party members, which is good, but the real interest is from its second effect. Using skill or technique before entering battle will designate one ally as the bond mate, summoning Soul Dragon for them. Soul Dragon will consistently provide more shields for allies and will actually increase the attack of the character designated as bond mate. It is also capable of providing follow-up attacks when enhanced through Dan Heng's ultimate. The basis of this kit is very simple, but incredibly effective. Soul Dragon will constantly advance itself if you run a faster DPS character, meaning even more reliable shielding for your party members. The damage from the follow-up attack is pretty stellar as well, depending on the bond mate, but for the most part, it's always somewhat reliable damage. On top of amazing sustain and solid damage and support capabilities, DHPT's excellence extends a bit further with one specific combo. While Archer's combo does annoy me a little bit because Sparkle is definitely a more niche character, DHPT combos perfectly with one of the strongest supports in the game, Sunday. Let me explain. Sunday action advances both characters and their summons. He always increases the damage of his target, but if they have a summon, that number goes from 30% to a whopping 80% damage increase. Soul Dragon is classified as a summon, and it doesn't count as Dan Heng's summon, it's actually linked to the bond mate specifically. Put 2 and 2 together, any character with Soul Dragon now gets an additional 50% damage increase from Sunday. Soul Dragon will also move consistently with your DPS, which means you won't have to worry about not knowing if it'll activate shields again in a reasonable amount of time. While this combo doesn't benefit every character, it benefits enough to be worthy of mention in my opinion. It especially deserves that mention when you consider many characters who like using Sunday can also make use of DHPT perfectly fine. This is easily one of the most unique things to exist in Star Rail, and should be abused as often as possible if you can. It makes certain characters way more fun, and really, who doesn't love a giant dragon getting to fly around the battlefield? Pretty sure those people in Game of Thrones didn't, but oh well. The last character of the day is none other than the only permanently free character, and probably the best one currently, Remembrance MC. And let me just say, I am genuinely shocked at how incredible this character is. This is a totally free character that you get by just playing the story, and they are easily one of the best supports in the game. Not just for a free character, but overall. That is genuinely unbelievable. Going from HMC as a fun and extremely helpful character into a more generalized support with an incredibly powerful signature mechanic is awesome for anyone playing this game. Getting such a powerful support who works with everything besides maybe break? I don't know how we could ask for more. I will ask for more, but it'll be hard. Alright, enough yapping. Let's finally talk about the dynamic duo of Mannzz and the Trailblazer. RMC is an Ice Remembrance character released in version 3.0. As far as I know, you're actually capable of acquiring this form even earlier now. You'll just be missing out on Eidolons for them. This is a little unfortunate, as the Eidolons can be quite helpful, the early ones specifically, but RMC is still perfectly fine without them, don't you worry. Getting into what RMC actually does, your main focus is not on anything the Trailblazer does, but rather what Mannzz does. When using skill to summon Mannzz gains charge. No, not archer charge, although I would love to see what Mannzz could do with the bow and arrow. Mannzz charge is a bar that goes up to 100%. When this bar reaches 100%, Mannzz will fully action advance a teammate and grant them true damage. True damage is not quite the easiest thing in the world to explain, so on screen now, I'm going to flash the formula so viewers can pause and read at their own discretion. The one thing you need to know is that this damage type is incredibly strong overall. True damage lasts for about 3 turns, which for some characters means you can actually build up another advance in the time it takes for your DPS to attack that many times. That consistent massive damage buff can really elevate a character's performance, and is highly recommended even over some other signature supports. The rest of the kit is all dedicated to building charge however possible. RMC skill grants charge. Mannzz Memo Sprite attack grants charge. RMC's ultimate, it grants 40 charge. This can also do a bit of damage with E6, granting a 100% crit rate when using this ultimate. Oh, also, one more thing, allies actually give Mannzz charge too. Shocking, right? When allies in total regenerate 10 energy, Mannzz gains 1% charge. This is a big part of why I like RMC so much. The flexibility, but similarly, the creativity you can work with. RMC has a mechanic hidden in Eidolons. That allows characters who don't generate energy to get a huge benefit from these buffs. At E4, characters with 0 energy grant 3% charge when using abilities. They also get a 6% bonus to their true damage multiplier when receiving Mannzz support. An incredible quality of life choice by the HSR devs that I kinda wish was universally applicable to all supports. Sunday just granting like Fei Xiao a massive damage boost instead of energy would be, yeah, it'd be nice. Anyway, back to RMC. I like the creativity and potential RMC has as a free character. They work with many teams, and you can often morph how they play to your team depending on the supports available. With how the energy from allies feature works, pairing RMC with characters who regenerate energy often is an amazing synergy that can unlock even more opportunities to use Mannzz Advance. One premier example of this would be Evernight and Tribby on the same team. With their signature cones, they regenerate a very high amount of energy per action. This can be great for RMC, since in a team like this, RMC can also spam skill to gain even more charge from Mannzz. Combinations like this are what I love, and for a free character to have such interesting synergies with multiple characters, it really explains why they top most tier lists as one of the best supports in Star Rail. With all 3 characters talked about, I want to take this final section to talk about the best teams and possibilities for these free characters. I'm sure many players watching this are experienced or have some sort of idea what works, but still. More game knowledge is never a bad thing, and understanding why things work so well is a positive all its own. With that said, let's start with Archer. Archer, like I mentioned earlier, is very much at his best with Sparkle. You should be aiming to have them together no matter what. After that, your game plan can vary enemy by enemy. If an enemy isn't quantum weak, Silverwolf is highly recommended, as a powerful option that will also allow Archer to break consistently. If an enemy is already quantum weak, Tribby and Cypher are incredible options that will do a lot to benefit the damage that Archer outputs. Funnily enough, another great teammate for Archer is actually RMC. The way this works is you have RMC advance Archer before Sparkle. That way when Sparkle advances him, the buffs will stack to do even higher damage. Just another benefit of RMC, I suppose. Having that true damage buff last for 3 whole turns allows him to synergize well with other action advancers. As a sustain for Archer, any SP positive sustain is ideal. Characters like Aventurine, Gallagher, and Donhung PT are incredible choices. Archer does actually have a fair bit of flexibility. Sparkle is just very important if you want this formula to actually succeed. DHPT and RMC aren't DPS characters, so their flexibility is quite a bit higher since they are the ones being plugged into a team rather than having it built around them. Starting with DHPT, the focus of this section is what characters benefit the most from his unique moveset. First and foremost on the list is Paiano. This gives him a sustain who can actively make him stronger, select him to give him core flame stacks, and Paiano usually has so much attack that Soul Dragon will end up contributing decent damage in a fight as well. Other characters who benefit a lot from Soul Dragon are usually fast-acting characters like Kafka on DOT. Since Kafka moves so much, Soul Dragon moves constantly. This results in DHPT only having to basic attack, granting the DOT girlies the skill points they desperately need. The last thing to note about DHPT is his Sunday combinations. There are multiple characters who excel with this combination of DHPT and Sunday, really unlocking a greater potential for them. The biggest benefactors of this combo are Saber, Anexa, and Jingyuan. Sunday is a high-level teammate for all of them, resulting in a much greater benefit just by inserting DHPT into these lineups. All in all, he is an incredible character that should be built and used if you have him on your account. Lastly, we have RMC. Let's take a look at where you can use RMC. And that's it, guys! Thanks for watching! Alright. Genuinely, I already went over RMC a bit. Find places where they can regen massive amounts of energy, or can spam skill points. You find that, you are going to have an incredible time with this character. And that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. As of late, I've really been wanting to touch on old topics again since so much about the game has changed. Many of these topics were really fun or helped put me more on the map, so revisiting them feels awesome. It's also insane we still get enough good free characters to get another video like this out. HSR is a lot of things for sure, but they very rarely miss when giving out characters. With that said, tell me in the comments below what you like most about these characters. I'm really curious to hear how everyone else feels. I've got plenty more good videos coming out soon, so I will see you guys then. Bye bye!